Recently, I was talking about the power of a project and how by having these things that we're passionate about and that really get our minds going are good for our soul, good for our purpose and sense of being, and how we can go to bed with a smile on our face just without anyone else knowing what we're up to, but it was because of the idea that we've birthed something that didn't exist when we woke up in the morning. And this is a real beautiful thing to have in our lives, and I think that as people we should be doing more of it. We've all got that spark, we've all got that unique story and authentic self to share in some sort of way, even without putting it public or sharing it. I think it's good for our beings to be creating things and having a project on the go in the background or whatever. It is powerful for us, and how we can find flow within that lifestyle and pursuing things that, as I said, like really get us going. And that's a personal thing. Through doing this, what I've realised is how when you're focused on that and you have these things that you're really passionate about that really excite you in a way that make you go a bit of a smile on your face when you're thinking about it, it makes everything else sort of, in many ways, the areas of life that aren't important, when you've got that thing that's important to you, it makes other things fall away. That without these projects, without these passions and pursuing things that excite us, the little things in life can become bigger than they need to be. And I've realised this, and like drama's an example. I know life's life, drama's going to happen, drama's going to go on, and sometimes it's necessary, it's inevitable. Being on this planet, all these different characters that we are, it's bound to come up. However, it surprises me, it blows my mind in a way how such small things in life can get blown up in proportion and made way bigger than they need to be, and they can go on for very long periods of time. And I hear things and I think, why is such a big thing being made out of something so small and petty? And really, it's not necessary. It's not a good vibration. It's not what any of us want to be spending our time or fueling our time or our minds with. So why do we do that? And when you've got a project on the go or a passion and you're fixed on it and you're excited and you have life being brought to you because of the things that you do in your spare time and things that have real value and substance for the soul, these little things, these little stories that come up and go in our lives or in other people's lives seems just to feel so unnecessary and in a way quite laughable. As I said, that as humans we can give so much power to things that are negative or quite frankly ridiculous in spending our time arguing or fighting or getting upset about. And I've noticed this, throughout my life, having things that I'm always birthing and passionate about and being focused on an outcome and pursuing things just for the love of it, puts your mind in a good place, puts your mind in a healthy place of creating and taking steps forward in working on a craft or working on a passion and working on a project. And it makes these sorts of dramas and stuff feel so small. They sort of all fall away. As I said, of course, life's life. They're going to come up at different times, and sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's unavoidable. Yet so commonly I hear things and I see things and I just think that is so avoidable. And in a way it shows me that, wow, that people would have much less of this in their lives and they would feed it much less if they had these things on the go that really got them going, that really inspired them, and they were focused on something positive, something that really was birthing life rather than taking life away of fighting and arguing and everything else. And as I said, I'm talking about the petty stuff, the things that come up in our lives that really do not need feeding and feel very unnecessary. And I feel the power of a project, having these things that we love and are focused on, make all that seem so small and quite laughable, And to me, this is a sign that you are actually in flow. And what I mean by that is that you've got a vision and your mind's in a good, healthy place, that you're pursuing that vision and focus on that vision. Doesn't matter how big or small, but when you're birthing good things and you're being fueled by positive things, these negative aspects of life that come up in the form of drama and arguing and petty misunderstandings get seen like that. You start seeing them like that, and I've noticed this. It's just like, wow, we really all going to put energy into that little story, or put energy and thoughts into these things that really do not matter. And I think having something that you're working on, having something that you're birthing, having something that you're passionate about and fueling and on this mission, doesn't matter how serious or not, but when you're on that mission, these sort of things fall away, or at least you see them this way. And I have, I think we all really caught up on this one small thing that really isn't necessary. And I really do feel that as humans, as people, we wouldn't be fueling these things as much if we all had these little things that we'd go off and pursue in love and in happiness and in drive and being passionate. And when you're in that mode and you're in that flow, it's hard to put energy onto these things, or it's pretty much impossible. You just don't want to feed it. You'd rather fuel the positive things that are going on in your life, and that manifests and that brings up where your mind's at. That shows you where your mind's at. That shows where your focus is at. And the power of a project, having that going on, is inevitable. It changes the way that you fuel all this other stuff that's not necessary. And I'm not bashing people that have dramas and regular dramas or blow things out of proportion. I get it. We've all got these different characters and we've all got these different lives and battles that we go through and that come up, but having a project, having something that you love, having something that you're building and fueling really takes you out of this mindset, because you can't help but not give it attention. You can't help but not fuel it in a way that's unnecessary. As I said, sometimes there's going to be things that need your attention. There's going to be situations you need to sort out and things that come your way that require you to take seriously. So I'm not. This is not a call to ignore those things. But all the other times where it really isn't necessary, having projects on the go for me have really shown me that, wow, if these guys just had something they was passionate about, if they had something that they were working on in the background and really striving for and focused and loving, putting energy into, they would not be fueling this petty situation as much as they are, and it definitely wouldn't go on as long as they sometimes seem to, because you're focused, you're driven, you've got your purpose, and all these other things are just noise and distraction from the love in life and the positive things in life that we can all spend our time doing more often, I feel. And that's a sign that you're in flow. If you feel that, like I've felt of feeling this, like something just will not take your energy because your energy is going on the positive things and then the things you focus on, and that's not forcing it. That's where your mind gets to when you're really feeling the love of something and you're working on something, you're figuring out, you're working on your craft. All the noise and distraction of life that really is not important falls away because you just will not want to give it energy, and you won't be able to force that. It's things you just better just leave and not get involved with. And obviously this is something that we should all be striving for anyway, without a project or anything else. But having a project, having these focuses really, really, really help for sure, of understanding what's actually important in life and where your energy goes, and what flows. So I think if you feel this as well, some of us obviously just wouldn't want to feel the drama, and other ones have got lessons and stuff to learn. Well, we've all got lessons to learn, and it shows itself through these situations a lot of the time. So I understand it, but you can get the lesson quite quickly and move on and be back into your positive mindset of focus and love for birthing positivity, rather than fueling things that are completely unnecessary. And whilst on the topic of dramas and these little stories, it's also shown me, by being focused on these, it's made me answer, like, why do these things happen? And it makes sense. It's inevitable. It's unavoidable in so many ways. I'm not saying that we're going to live a life without these situations that pop up, because of course I actually think it's a big part of why we're here and how we learn about our characters and lessons and misunderstandings themselves, of realizing that, like, okay, why do these things come up and come up more regularly for other people? One is because they feed it, fuel it, and get some sort of kick off of it, of course, where others would avoid it like the plague, just because they want to put their energy on other things and build better things. But when you think about it, it's actually pretty inevitable or obvious that we're all coming from these different angles. So it makes total sense that we're going to see these little situations in life from different. I'm seeing it from one angle because I'm coming from this place, and you're seeing it from another angle. It makes total sense. So even those sorts of things of realizing that we're all going to see a situation, a conversation differently, because we're all coming from these different angles, and that also has made me realize over the years that why I don't want to feed it or get caught up in these things that you really don't need to, because in some ways it's unavoidable, and it's inevitable that misunderstandings are going to take place, and arguments and things are going to take place, or we're going to bring up things in each other's characters and be the mirror of for a certain lesson to come up. And as I said, there's other times you've got to take accountability and learn from it and own up to it or whatever else. But that's how I feel. You know, these misunderstandings, these dramas, in many ways are inevitable, but it comes down to how much you want to fuel them and feed them and get stuck in it and thrive in that drama when it's really not necessary. And when you've got good things on the go, when you've got passions and drives and projects that you're birthing and building, you will not be feeding these petty situations. You might get the lesson quickly, you might understand it, how it happened and unraveled, because we're all coming from these different angles and we've upset someone or they've upset them or they don't like them. It makes total sense. We've all got these different characters, we're all working with different things, we're all seeing situations from a different angle, so it's inevitable to happen. Probably a big part of our journey here on earth to understand ourselves more and more and more and learn these lessons, you know, and learn these things. But balance that out with passions, balance that out with projects, build things and go to bed with a smile on your face of thinking about the thing that you've birthed that day and brought to life that day that didn't exist when you woke up, rather than all these petty things that aren't going on, because life's going to bring many other important things that do need your energy that aren't necessarily positive, and they're hard, and you've got to take accountability and turn up and solve them and sort them out in the right ways. So don't also turn up for things that aren't needed, the dramas that aren't needed, the dramas that are inevitable and make sense in some way, but just take a step back, see it for what it is, rather than fueling it and getting too caught up in it, because that's all energy, they're all thoughts, they're all patterns and energy that can be going on to other things. And as I said, when you've got these projects, these passions, you won't be feeding these little things. You won't be able to, because you've got too much to that you want to feed, that you want to build, and you want to put love into, and all this unnecessary drama and petty situations that many fuel and feed and thrive in just become impossible, because you won't be able to put your energy there without feeling like it's just completely unnecessary and quite laughable. So I love this, you know, I love being focused and having flow in my life where I can feel that what I'm building, what the next action is, and pondering that and working with that takes you away from all the unnecessary stuff in life. It's a positive thing to have, and it's not to keep striving for more, it's not to keep trying to get to this end goal. It really is about the journey. But on this journey of life, what would you rather feel it with? You know, birthing creativity, birthing projects, ideas, and running with passion and drive, or getting caught up in unnecessary situations that are really quite petty and quite laughable, when you've got things in your life that are filled with substance and soul and passion and drive. And if you feel that, of course, some of us without having a project won't be feeding drama when it's not necessary. But I do feel and see others that I just think, man, if they had a project, if they had something that they really loved and was actively, because we've all got that thing, it's just unlocking it a bit. So if they was actively pursuing, building and following ideas and loves and passions and creating things that they really got their mind going in a positive way, there's no way they'd be feeding this little situation, or at least they'd be seeing it for what it is rather than blowing it out of proportion. And I just wanted to add that to the power of a project, you know, what that can do when you've got things going on that you're fully focused on and loving and bring a smile to your face. All the unnecessary things really will fall away, and it's a good healthy place to be for sure.